The clamor of what it means to stand out and be seen is all around us in this world. Therefore, it's simple to overlook the great power of stillness in order to be heard. The ancient Stoics were correct all along. They recognized that silence can be a source of strength, the kind of power that captivates others without a single word. Imagine becoming the center of attention just by entering a room. You have such a fascinating presence, not because you're the loudest or most showy. It seems like you're talking a lot without actually saying anything. This isn't just mythology or ancient philosophy, it's something you can actually accomplish. We're exploring the core of silent attraction today under the timeless Stoic wisdom goes beyond simply making an appearance. It's about making an impression that lasts and feels as organic as breathing. Therefore, if you've ever been overwhelmed by a constantly talking world, now is the time to learn how to make your silence more powerful than your words. Let's discover the keys of effortlessly attracting attention, without making an effort by using the age-old technique of Stoic charm. If you value the adventure we're doing together, delving into the depths of wisdom and stillness, please remember to hit the subscribe button and give me a small favor. This message is specifically for you if you've ever felt like you're different from the majority. You are the exception we have been waiting for, so be careful not to miss any of the video. The strength of being yourself. How frequently do we censor our thoughts, silence our passions, or even change our minds? We've all been there, just to fit in. But Stoicism gently guides us back to our true calling. It indicates that our honesty is the most alluring and captivating trait we have. Being authentic puts you in balance with your nature, and this balance resonates. It's like sending out a signal that says, "This is me," unfiltered, to individuals in your immediate vicinity. Unrepentant and genuine, and trust me, that type of truth is captivating. But let's take it a step further. Being yourself involves accepting your peculiarities, interests, and weaknesses. It entails maintaining your convictions in the face of external pressure to change them. It's about being confident in yourself and understanding that your true expression is your greatest strength. Keep in mind that virtue was more important to the Stoics than wisdom. Bravery, justice, and temperance, while upholding these values and following having an innate moral compass, not only makes you appealing to others, but it also provides you closer to your own peace and contentment. So how can you begin accepting the power of self-expression? Starts with a little self-reflection. Spend some time learning about your beliefs, interests, and limits. Think about your motivations, what makes you feel alive, and how you can align your behavior with who you really are. And then have the courage to communicate, showing the world who you really are. It's not about being flawless or winning over everyone. It all comes down to being genuine and consistent in both your words and deeds, and being who you truly are each and every day. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic philosopher, famously remarked, "Don't waste any more time debating about what, given the circumstances of our conversation, a good man ought to be one. If you swap out the man for a person, the message is still as potent. Don't waste your life wondering what makes someone nice or appealing. Instead, accept who you are. The power of being you is to live by your virtues and allow your true self to shine. And believe me when I say that in a society that frequently prizes conformity, your genuineness is your superpower. It is what attracts others to you in a subtle way. In the most profound and effortless manner, fashion. The way we show ourselves to the outside world tells a tale and speaks volumes. Stoicism doesn't preach about giving up material belongings without saying a word, or disregarding how we look. Rather, it helps us live intentionally. Encompassing our self-expression through our Stoic style encourages us to concentrate on teaching us the importance of simplicity and honesty. When it comes to style, what really counts is not following a minimalist look. By completely eschewing fashion, it means dressing in ways that are consistent with who we really are. Clothes that express our individuality, values, and life roles. It involves making conscious decisions that are in line with our inner selves. When you wear something, consider it instead than just adhering to every fad. Something that shouts, "How do you feel confident, feels right, comfortable, possibly even somewhat unbeatable, As a result of aligning your outward look, your inner world enhances your genuineness and helps you stand out. Not because you're ostentatious or flamboyant, but rather because you exude self-confidence. It is exclusively yours, but to make sure they're not just making noise. Thus, how can we use to apply Stoic wisdom to our style? Begin by considering what each item in your fashion is more than just attire. It includes every aspect of your appearance, including your hairstyle and accessories. That develop into manifestations of who you are. Every decision is a stroke in the masterpiece. In other words, Stoicism pushes us to make these decisions deliberately. What does your clothing say about you? Does it reflect who you are? And do it reflect your values? Or who you want to be? The objective is to be authentic rather than to impress others. In a sincere and consistent manner, keeping in mind that your style is dynamic. Your style will vary and evolve as you mature and move through life. That's all very well. The important thing is to stay loyal to oneself during these changes, letting your inner journey influence how you express yourself externally. Body language. It's amazing how much we can convey through our posture and gestures without ever using words. Even the way we walk around a room communicates with people around us. Fundamentally, Stoicism teaches us about awareness and control, not only of our bodies but also of our minds. It's about realizing that our outward manifestations are mirror images of our inner states. Thus, when we discuss body language, from a Stoic standpoint, it goes beyond simply adjusting our body language to project a particular image. It involves coordinating our outward behaviors with our internal values and goals. Integrity and coherence between our emotions and our actions are key. Think about how simple it is to keep proper posture. It goes beyond simply projecting confidence. It is a tangible representation of dignity and self-respect. Standing tall with your shoulders back is a highly regarded Stoic quality. With head up high, you're telling yourself that you're confident as well as the outside world. People are drawn to you because of your self-assured attitude and belief that you deserve respect. Establishing a persona of reliability and approachability, but stance alone isn't enough. The nuances of our facial expressions, the honesty of our eye contact, and the warmth of our grin. These body language components are all extremely powerful and communicative, to close gaps so that people feel heard and seen without using words. For example, a true smile can soften even the most defensive heart, and genuine eye contact can create a bond that seems as profound as any discussion, and Stoicism pushes us to be in the moment. Be attentive at all times, and this includes our body language. Being fully present means being conscious of our bodily interactions with others around us is important for making sure empathy is one example of how our body language conveys our true intentions and sentiments, openness, or just a willingness to use this mindful technique. Nonverbal communication encourages sincere conversations and connections. Founded on mutual respect and trust, therefore, how can we put Stoic ideas into practice? Self-awareness is the first step in becoming an expert in body language. Spend some time observing. Are you really present in your encounters based on your own nonverbal cues? Or are you blocked off? Maybe you're not even aware that your emotions are open and hospitable, or do they create obstacles between you and other people? Practice paying close attention to the person you are interacting with at all times. Allow your body language to convey honesty and purpose. A fragrance worth recalling. It's incredible how a single scent can conjure feelings and take us back in time, or even influence how we view someone. It goes beyond simply picking out a scent or cologne. It's about choosing a fragrance that becomes a part of who you are, one that makes an impact without requiring a single word to be spoken. We learn from Stoicism the value of intentionality in all facets of our existence. It's about picking a smell, even if it seems like a simple decision. That, instead of giving in, is in line with your identity and the legacy you want to leave on the world. To the newest fashions or the priciest brand, it's a type of nonverbal speech that, when carefully chosen, shows your ideals and inner self. A unique perfume is a subtle yet effective approach to make a personal statement, not just an accessory. Consider the value of expressing your individuality, just as Stoics do. Of our words and deeds expressing our inherent characteristics, A thoughtfully selected scent can act as a mirror of your character, emotions, and even goals. This fingerprint from an ancient factory indicates that I am forming a sensory memory. In the thoughts and nostrils of everyone you encounter, selecting this fragrance demands mindfulness and entails comprehending more than just the scents that appeal to you, but also how they interact with your body's inherent chemistry in the places you visit. Regarding the message you like to deliver, do you wish to inspire a feeling of dependability and serenity? Perhaps you want to be remembered as bold, or perhaps you want a fresh, clean aroma. And daring, you might want to try something with woodsy or spicy undertones. Coherence is crucial in this situation, so make sure your perfume selection is a manifestation of your character and ideals, much like the Stoic way of life. In accordance with one's own nature, as well as the Stoic discipline of moderation applies here as well. It's not about overpowering people with your strong scent, but instead picking a fragrance that whispers rather than yells to draw them in. It is a fragrance that leaves a faint but lasting impression on a space, similar to the subtle yet significant influence we want our activities to have on the world. And decisions based on stoicism, charming attitudes. In a time when digital communication frequently eliminates the subtleties of face-to-face contact, although good manners provide a link to authentic human connection, when we discuss with captivating manners, we're going beyond simply saying please and thank you. We're investigating how the grace of our encounters might make an imprint that lasts, similar to the enduring Stoic wisdom, directs us to behave honorably and with dignity in all facets of life. Stoicism's emphasis on virtue, self-control, and empathy makes it an ideal fit. There is more to the idea of captivating manners than simply adhering to societal norms for aesthetic reasons. It's about showing respect by our deeds. We demonstrate compassion and regard for others. This alignment between Stoic ideals and how we treat other people produces a subtly potent charm. It shows that we not only consider what we do, but also that we have a great deal of regard for those. Think about the effect of actually listening when someone speaks when we engage with them, of giving them our whole attention without being sidetracked by our phones or our own thoughts. A fundamental component of Stoic practice, this act of presence conveys that we cherish the individual and the period we're spending with them. It's a straightforward yet significant way that strikes a deep chord in the frequently distracted culture of today. Furthermore, Stoicism teaches us the value of sensitivity and comprehension, and expressing others' emotions when our demeanor is imbued with sincere compassion. We are exhibiting Stoic values when we are quick to lend a helping hand or a word of encouragement. In the most relatable ways, these deeds of compassion and understanding do more than simply increase our likability. They attract others to us, forming a warm, real connection that is magnetic. However, let's also discuss the nuances of etiquette and how to handle the complications of social encounters with grace, including conversational skills and dining manners. These abilities demonstrate awareness and regard for the circumstance and the business we're in. Stoicism teaches us to interact with the world wisely rather than to retreat from it. And becoming proficient in these social graces is evidence of that involvement. It's about demonstrating that we are concerned enough to consider how we behave in order to respect the unwritten standards. That paved the way for deeper conversations. Come here now. Being totally present is a strong call to action as well as advise. A solution to the shallow relationships that are all too prevalent in our fast-paced society. Yet surprisingly, it fits quite well with Stoic philosophy, which encourages living Stoicism, means living in the present and enjoying it for what it is. Teaches us the importance of letting go of the things we cannot control and concentrating on the things we can. Applying this to our relationships with other people entails focusing entirely on them. Free from the grip of regrets from the past or worries about the future, it's about participating with them completely, exuding a presence that conveys the message, you are important to me, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. This kind of attention is valuable and uncommon, and it has the power to turn even the most routine encounter into a deep and meaningful bond. Being physically there is only one aspect of being present. Active participation is also necessary. Listening in the present moment, not only to react, but also to fully comprehend. It's the difference between talking to someone who is always looking at their phone and having a conversation with someone who is entirely focused on you to make you feel heard and seen. The latter can make a lasting impact by evoking feelings of sincerity and warmth. That is incredibly alluring, but how can we foster this presence in a world that is always changing? For our focus begins with mindfulness, which is the act of become more conscious, to become more cognizant of our thoughts, feelings, and environment without passing judgment. When our thoughts begin to wander, we can gently refocus our attention on the here and now. Like any other ability, it becomes better with patience and practice. Furthermore, Stoicism inspires us to recognize the beauty of the here and now. Minute to consider every interaction, no matter how short, as a gift, is a chance for us to develop, learn, and connect as we approach our interactions. With this attitude, we improve not just our own lives, but also those of others, in significant ways to people around us. But being present also entails vulnerability. Taking down the barriers we frequently erect in order to be seen and to see others, it's about taking off the mask and establishing a human connection. Realizing that at our heart, however, we all want to connect and understand this susceptibility. Despite its intimidating appearance, it has great power and dismantles boundaries. It fosters trust, establishing the groundwork for more profound and significant connections. A hint of mystery. This idea, which has its roots in the wisdom of Stoicism, serves as a reminder that sometimes little is more, teaches us the importance of self-control and the strength of holding some things close to the chest. It's about carefully choosing what we reveal, not about lying or keeping things secret. Regarding ourselves, and when this selective sharing generates a sense of attraction that attracts those who are curious about the Stoic guy behind the curtain. Its emphasis on introspection and personal development motivates us to concentrate on cultivating our character instead than looking for approval from others. This way of thinking is ideal for fostering a sense of mystery. By not disclosing all of our with cards on the table, we encourage people to interact more fully and see past the obvious. It's a subliminal invitation to investigate, a clue that we're more complex than we first appear. This is about embracing our complexity, not about playing games or putting on a front. And depth to develop organically over time. Just think of the distinction between a book that tells a story and one that reveals the plot in the first few pages. Its secrets are revealed layer by layer, and you can't stop wondering which one most interests you. The same idea holds true for interpersonal relationships. Adding a little surprise can change the course of a discussion. It transforms every encounter with us from a simple information exchange into an exciting discovery. A captivating chapter in a narrative that others want to keep reading toward our character's depth. But how can we find the ideal balance? Being attentive of what we communicate and its purpose is the first step. It's about sharing intentionally rather than impulsively to fill the void. Or because we feel compelled to exercise self-control due to the culture of excessive sharing. A quality that Stoicism promotes to walk the tightrope between being open and keeping a hint of surprise. It's also about appreciating the caliber of our relationships. Over the quantity of realizing that mutual discovery is the cornerstone of stronger connections and appreciation of one another's depth, while also welcoming a hint of mystery shows respect for our inner selves by admitting that some ideas, dreams, and experiences are so valuable that they increase in value when they are not freely shared. This careful sharing, which is about cherishing rather than withholding, makes the final. The fact that sharing is offered rather than required makes it much more significant. We also learn to listen better when we practice this Stoic approach to mystery. We allow others to speak when we are less eager to fill the room with our own tales, to genuinely connect with their essence, which establishes a mutually beneficial relationship. A give-and-take dance that enhances the discussion on both sides and creates a sincere connection and interest that can be incredibly fulfilling. Develop cultural knowledge. This is about understanding, not merely memorizing facts or capitalization. The spirit of many cultures, respecting their customs, hardships, and pleasures. It's a voyage of self-discovery driven by the virtue of wisdom and the Stoic pursuit of knowledge. To develop an international perspective that values diversity and encourages stoicism and empathy emphasizes the value of gaining knowledge that extends beyond our own experiences. It inspires us to go beyond ourselves in order to gain knowledge from the world around us and recognize the similarities. By fostering cultural wisdom, we are fostering humanity in everyone. We are examining the complex fabric of human civilization by putting ourselves in other people's shoes. And by doing so, we're dismantling the obstacles as well as expanding our own viewpoints that frequently separate us. Consider the breadth and depth of cultural knowledge. When we are able to tell a tale, it enhances our connections and conversations. From another culture, when we are able to communicate comprehension or simply a few words. In other words, we're fostering understanding and respect for other people's experiences. And we're sending a message that diversity is important to us, not just a concept. However, as a lived reality, this does not necessitate that we have an encyclopedia or be international travelers. Understanding of other cultures instead, then focusing on developing curiosity, a receptive mindset, and a sincere desire to absorb knowledge from the diverse lifestyles around the world. Furthermore, Stoicism's focus on human development and progress fits in well with by exposing oneself to many points of view in the quest for cultural enlightenment and philosophies. We're questioning our presumptions rather than merely gathering data. By facing our prejudices and developing empathy, we're practicing self-education. That develops us into more empathetic, well-rounded people who can interact with the outside world. More profoundly, but how can we foster this cultural knowledge? It begins with deliberate, little measures, such as reading novels by authors worldwide, interacting with music and art from many cultures, and viewing movies that provide a glimpse into other lives. It involves looking for discussions that challenge us to step beyond of our comfort zones and deepen our understanding. Every cultural experience and bit of information we acquire deepens our comprehension, broadening our viewpoint and improving our interpersonal connections. Compassion binds. This is about genuinely understanding someone's experiences, not just about feeling sorry for them, their pleasures, their challenges, and emotionally engaging with them. The thing that connects our hearts and enables us to see past our differences is compassion, and acknowledge the rich tapestry of stoicism and the humanity that unites us all. A particular place is reserved for compassion, which reflects the fundamental ideas of empathy. Stoicism teaches us the importance of appreciating community and the interdependence of all beings. Our shared ties encourage us to care about people outside of our own circle. It is a call to action for the larger community and the entire world, inspiring us to act on our emotions in a meaningful way in addition to feeling deeply. We are not merely expressing pity when we approach people with compassion. We are contributing a portion of our time, attention, and support. This deed of generosity, putting oneself aside to ease another person's burdens, is among the most alluring and captivating traits someone may have. It attracts others to us, strengthening our bonds and adding warmth. Compassion isn't always simple, but that is impossible to fake. In order to empathize with others' suffering without hastily offering solutions, we must first face our own agony. It asks us to listen intently and comprehend before looking for fast fixes or platitudes. It can be difficult to comprehend this degree of involvement, but it's also tremendously fulfilling by allowing us to see other people's experiences. We not only lessen their burden, but also improve our own life by learning new things and viewpoints that we might have overlooked otherwise. Additionally, compassion cultivates a feeling of community and belonging in a world that can frequently feel acts of kindness that are solitary and fragmented, serve as a reminder that we are not alone. Many of us yearn for this sensation of connection, that we're a part of something greater than ourselves. At the most basic level, which is why compassion is such an effective instrument for fostering connections. We are setting the groundwork when we genuinely care about other people's welfare, seeking enduring relationships that go beyond the flimsiness of daily life. Compassionate engagement also calls for a certain level of vulnerability, which entails exposing ourselves to the potential of being impacted by other people's pain and experiencing it as though it were our own. Although this vulnerability may appear intimidating, it also shows power. an uncommon and valuable degree of emotional transparency and genuineness. It demonstrates our willingness to set aside our egos in order to relate to others in some way. This genuineness is alluring because it is genuine and unadulterated, attracting people to us in a manner that was impossible for surface-level encounters. The room is filled with laughing. Although it might not be able to treat every illness, it is sometimes stated that laughter is the best medicine. It undoubtedly has the ability to change a space's ambiance and the people who occupy it. Laughter can lighten even the darkest souls because it is contagious, possesses a unique kind of charm that appears at first glance as humor and stoicism. May appear to be strange partners, but at their core, stoicism is about finding joy in the here and now and leading a happy life. By establishing a strong connection with others' objectives, which laughter immediately promotes. The Stoics recognized the significance of having fun and not taking life too seriously. They were always aware that laughter may be a very effective coping mechanism, a method to approach life's absurdities and difficulties with a more positive outlook. This shared laughing serves as a reminder of our commonality, that we all have the ability to be joyful despite our differences. Moreover, laughter exemplifies the Stoic idea of living in the moment. When we laugh authentically, we are completely present in the moment and not preoccupied with the past. Without worry about what lies ahead, it's a method to practice mindfulness and completely appreciate the happiness that can be found in the present. And when we laugh, we're not merely having fun. A brief reprieve from the challenges of life, we're engaging in a type of Stoic acceptance, recognizing that although we have no control over everything that occurs to us, we can choose to enjoy the good times in life with wide arms, and laughing is a strong unifying factor. Through shared moments of humor, it dismantles boundaries and creates bridges, making us more receptive, more human and interconnected, which is consistent with the Stoic value placed on community, and that everyone is interconnected, as we are reminded when we laugh together, of our common humanity, of the feelings and experiences that unite us. Despite our varied origins and life experiences, laughter fosters a sense of community. After all, we're not all that different, but how can we make our lives more humorous? Being open and not taking oneself too seriously is the first step. Discovering humor in our errors and learning to laugh at ourselves in light of life's absurdities, this does not imply downplaying the gravity of some circumstances or the actual difficulties we face. Rather, it's about bringing our viewpoints into balance and acknowledging that happiness and sadness are both essential components of the human experience. They both involve looking for and generating possibilities for happiness, either by spending time with humorous people or by interacting with lighthearted stuff, or just working on the skill of seeing humor in ordinary circumstances. Self-care demonstrates one's worth. In a society that frequently encourages us to put everyone and everything before ourselves, our life can be drastically changed by a small but extreme act of defiance. Self-care is much more than just treating yourself to a spa day or some snacks. It involves consciously trying to take care of our mental, emotional, and physical well. Stoicism emphasizes the value of self-control and comprehension. In this context, taking care of oneself is not an act of selfishness because it is something we can control. Also a practice in acknowledging our duty to look after our own health. The Stoics held that the self was valuable and that it was important to be at our best. Why? Since we can only do so from a position of strength and well-being. Live in line with our principles and make a meaningful contribution to the world around us. And take care of ourselves from a Stoic standpoint while fulfilling our obligations to others. Focuses on honoring the gift of life and the body and mind that sustain us. It's about realizing that our ability to feel, think, and behave in accordance with our values is a type of self-respect that is intrinsically tied to how well we take care of ourselves. Is the cornerstone upon which, when we esteem ourselves sufficiently, we construct our relationships with the outside world. When we put our health and happiness first, we're better able to handle life's obstacles, involves fortitude and discernment, but Stoic self-care goes beyond bodily well-being. It also entails practicing mindfulness in order to develop emotional resilience and a sound mind, thinking critically and looking for intellectually and spiritually enlightening activities. This all-encompassing method of self-care guarantees that we're not simply physically fit, but also psychologically and emotionally equipped to deal with life's challenges. Additionally, taking care of oneself has a positive knock-on impact. When we're at our best, we have greater patience and can give more to others. We give back to our communities by being aware of and present in our connections. This is a more enthusiastic and effective way to embody the Stoic ideal of taking care of ourselves in order to live in service to the general good. Because we are in a better position to provide help, we are indirectly caring for those around us. Kindness and knowledge. But how can we incorporate self-care into our everyday routines? In a manner that honors Stoic principles, it begins with basic deliberate acts such as consuming wholesome foods that provide our body with energy, taking part in strengthening physical activities, and making sure we receive enough sleep and scheduling time for introspection and rest. It also entails establishing limits, saying no when it's essential, and setting priorities in order to preserve our time and energy that support our development and are consistent with our ideals. The appeal of self-sufficiency. This idea strikes a deep chord in a culture that frequently promotes the concept of self, independence and self-determination. Yet when we dig deeper, we discover that independence is not really about being alone or isolated, but more about the courage and self-assurance that come from being able to stand alone. This strength, which is a fundamental component of Stoicism, goes beyond survival, without help, but rather about living life on your own terms and choosing choices that are in line with your principles and leading a life that is truly your own Stoicism. With its focus on personal accountability and self-discipline and pursuing virtue, reminds us that genuine independence comes from within. It's the liberation that results from controlling your emotions and achieving your goals, and from the profound realization that your contentment and tranquility originate internally, not from outside events or other people's viewpoints. This philosophical method inspires us to develop a type of independence based on perseverance, self-sufficiency, and the knowledge that we possess the ability to mold our life in accordance with our values. The attraction of this type of independence is deep and appealing since it symbolizes a person who does not depend on outside validation and is not readily influenced by the trends of public opinion. To feel accomplished or appreciated, this independence shows up as confidence. To choose what's best for you, even if it goes against the grain, it's about having the guts to go down your own road and accept your individuality, and to embrace freedom while leading a life that genuinely expresses who you are. Does not imply denying other people's support and company. On the contrary, Stoicism instills in us the importance of camaraderie and solidarity. The secret is striking a balance between savoring deep relationships with other people and while keeping the freedom to follow your own principles and objectives. It's about establishing connections that value your autonomy and foster your development instead of those. Something can define or stress you when you're developing this independence calls for self-awareness and reflection. It entails routinely reviewing your values, objectives, and the driving forces behind your behavior. Are you working for something, either because it really speaks to you or because you feel under pressure to live up to social norms? It also entails cultivating resilience, or the capacity to deal with difficulties and failures. When we conclude our voyage, without losing sight of your principles or your identity, remember the deepest bonds through the Stoic art of quiet attraction are frequently created in the quiet times by our character's subtle strength, and adopt these values in the genuine manifestation of who we really are. In your day-to-day activities, and observe how the world changes around you, inspiring others. Thank you for coming, to the warmth of your presence and the depth of your spirit. Your participation and curiosity throughout your experience at Stoic Journal are what define this community. I invite you to watch if this discussion has piqued your interest in more. One of the recommended videos on your screen is Dive Deeper and is still expanding. And allow the ageless wisdom of Stoicism to guide you, keeping in mind your life speaks volumes in the stillness of your deeds.